People, this video is going to blow your mind. Experts say that the price of XRP could go through the roof and reach $49,726. That's pretty cool, right? However, it's easy. There is a very wealthy company called BlackRock that wants to buy the XRP coin. You did hear that right. The price of XRP will go through the roof because of them alone. Watch this whole video. We'll do it one step at a time. Nota bene. BlackRock, which is the biggest asset manager in the world, is said to have met with the SEC's crypto task group to talk about possible rules for approving crypto-based ETFs. XRP is at the heart of this quiet but powerful move. The news, which was first shared by crypto personality Amali on X, has made a lot of people in the XRP community excited and curious. It is thought that the meeting is a strong sign that BlackRock is thinking about starting an XRP ETF, a move that could completely change the role of XRP in both crypto and traditional banking. Before you can understand how important this change is, you need to know what an ETF is and why it's so important. An ETF is a type of investment vehicle that lets people or businesses bet on the price of an object, like XRP, without actually owning it. ETFs are a simple, regulated, and well-known way for regular investors, especially big institutions, to invest in something like cryptocurrency without having to deal with wallets, exchanges, or custody solutions. If BlackRock is able to successfully start an XRP ETF, it would allow huge amounts of money to come in from regular investors who have been holding off until now because of regulatory uncertainty or technical difficulties. The time of this move is very important. Recently, XRP got a big legal win when a U.S. judge said that it is not a security when sold on platforms. This is a rare example of clear regulation in the often cloudy world of crypto. As Stuart Alderode, Ripple's top legal officer, said, XRP is not a security. This is the law. This statement is a big step forward in Ripple's long legal fight. It also gives big companies like BlackRock the confidence to look into financial products built on XRP. Because they are afraid of market manipulation and instability, the SEC has been wary of crypto ETFs for a long time. But XRP's clearer legal standing could be the big step forward that turns things around. An XRP ETF backed by BlackRock would be more than just another investment offering. It would be a huge change in how the market sees it. BlackRock is in charge of more than $10 trillion in assets. Its participation would give XRP a level of credibility and legitimacy that has never been seen before, which could lead other asset managers to do the same. Someone on X said, if BlackRock backs XRP, you can bet that other big companies will too. With this kind of support, XRP could go from being a controversial digital currency to a common way to invest money. We've seen this before. When Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs were released or cleared, their prices went through the roof. This was because both large and small investors wanted to buy them. If the past is any indication, XRP could be the next big currency. Still be careful. The meeting between BlackRock and the SEC looks good, but it doesn't mean that the plan will be approved. The SEC is still very carefully looking at crypto-based ETFs. But the fact that BlackRock, a company known for having strong ties with regulators and strict adherence to rules, has taken this step suggests that a formal plan may not be too far away. It may even be going on behind closed doors right now. The XRP community is already very excited about Amali's story. It's no longer a pipe dream that one of the world's biggest banks is working behind the scenes to integrate XRP into regular money. It's starting to look like a possible outcome. Should the SEC give the go-ahead, it could be the start of a new era for the whole cryptocurrency business, not just Ripple. When XRP joins forces with Wall Street's most powerful company, it could be the moment when the asset goes from being an underdog to a popular financial asset. Everyone is watching BlackRock and the SEC until then because what they do next could make all the difference. But now for the real question. What would happen if BlackRock actually did it? How much further can XRP go if the biggest company on Wall Street backs it? Crypto experts have begun to look at the numbers, and what they find may surprise you. What's about to happen could change everything you thought you knew about the future of XRP. So it all starts with XRP Dragon telling a simple truth. Everyone who is now a millionaire started out as a beginner who held on to XRP. This quote really shows how the XRP feels. Strengthened, patient, and always positive. And in a market where waiting can mean the difference between wealth and sorrow, that way of thinking seems more and more sensible. XRP Avengers makes one of the more realistic but still shocking predictions. They say XRP could hit $40 to $50 soon, and that it will only take a few $1 billion to get there because there isn't much money in circulation. That is very important. A huge amount of money doesn't have to flow into XRP for it to move rapidly. Because it has a lot of buyers and sellers, but not as much liquidity as traditional financial markets. Even a small rise in institutional demand, like from a BlackRock ETF, could start a sharp and long-lasting gain. But $50 isn't the end of it. Not at all. Analysts say that $10,000 per XRP is going to happen, which King XRP says with confidence. At first glance, that may seem crazy, but it fits with an idea that some people who support XRP have had for a long time. In the future, XRP will be more than just a payment token. As long as XRP doesn't completely replace or add to existing systems like SWIFT and trillions of dollars are moving through the X ledger, then, at least in theory, that price isn't completely impossible. Even stranger is a tweet from CryptoGeek that says Europe has agreed to $49,726 in XRP. There isn't an official EU document that backs up that exact number, but it shows that XRP might be worth a lot more if you don't look at its value in today's market, but at how it could help change the global financial system. For that reason, XRP is very different from other things. It's not just a coin. Many people see it as a bet on a future where payments between countries are fast, free, and not centralized. There was already a lot of talk about a decentralized market built on the XRP ledger called the First Ledger team recently added a funny take. They teased in a post that went viral very quickly. Along with that comment, they shared pictures of ridiculously expensive things, like a CNN story showing XRP at $2,000 and a Mona Lisa hanging on someone's wall, followed by a Gundam robot and a John Deere tractor, which were meant to show how ridiculously rich they had become all of a sudden. Even though it was obviously meant to be funny, that post hit home because it caught a dream that many people in the XRP community share. You need to know more than just charts and lights. People think about what their lives might be like if the coin they've been hanging on to through the lawsuits, the market crashes and the fear, uncertainty, and doubt finally goes off at a huge price. Of course, not all of these forecasts will come true. A $10,000 or $50,000 XRP would need major changes to the way global finance works, almost universal acceptance, and a level of usefulness that very few assets have ever reached. But that doesn't change how important the talk is, because what we're seeing is faith, not just hope, but an idea based on what people have seen happen. The legal wins for Ripple, its growing partnerships with banks, and now even attention from big companies like BlackRock. Right? There's more, though. Let's take a look at Ripple's newest relationships. Trust me, these partnerships are making a big thing possible. This is yet another positive sign that will blow your mind. Stay put. What's next is something you won't want to miss. So Monica Long, president of Ripple, recently sent out a strong update that is shaking up the app community and is shaking up the XRP community and is being called a possible game changer. There are now rumors that the CEO of Bank of America said, "We're fully committed to XRP." When one of the world's largest banks backs XRP in this way, it does more than just make it legitimate. It makes its point very clear to the whole banking world. Now is the time when crypto can be used in the real world, and XRP is showing the way. Things get even worse from here on out. Recent reports from U.S. federal regulators say that regulated banks can now legally buy, sell, and keep cryptocurrencies. That's right. The heavily regulated banking industry in the United States is now fully open to crypto. This means that companies can start using digital assets like XRP in their daily work. Just think about what will happen if a small part of the banking business starts moving money into XRP. Because XRP has a limited supply and is